friends. I was looking at the streaming orientation and I was trying to turn it the other way. But I think it says, I don't know what that means. Hi, how are you doing, Rumi? Hope you're having a good day. Can you see me normally? I was trying to change the orientation so it would be a full screen. I'm not really sure if that would be better. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm trying to be good. Tough morning. A little bit of a tough morning for me. I'm just processing some thoughts and trying to do some things, some administrative things, just making sure that I keep up with certain things. Some days are hard. Some days are hard. I'm having some trouble with my eyes. I probably need to go get them retested. I had a eye exam a few months ago, and the glasses that I had, I don't think the prescription is what I'm supposed to have. And then I think I hurt my eye a few weeks ago. And things don't seem it's a tough time. I haven't read anything since we talked yesterday, so I don't have any reading updates to give you. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to be chatting. I don't know how much I'll read today, but I'm just going to chat for a little bit. In yesterday's video, I got a couple of new books from the publishers, and I want to start reading those soon. But when I did the unboxing, I talked about why I wasn't going to read either of them right away. Let me get the books. So I went for 2 books, but I brought 5. I brought 5 books. And all of these have been gifted to me by the publishers at different times. So let's talk about why I have them. So, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So if you were here yesterday, then you may remember that we had a little unboxing yesterday, and I got these 2 new books from the publishers. So I'll show you what they were, just in case you weren't here yesterday. I'm going to tell you why. So the first book that I got yesterday was a little romance, a little holiday themed movie experience romance, which I'm really looking forward to reading. It is Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. And I love holiday movies. And when I got the book yesterday, I was talking about one of the things that I'd like to do this year, which is a little bit of a revisit of a plan that I started last year, which was to assemble some books that I would go through during the holiday season. So I do a project called Vlogmas, where I try to post a video, some kind of Christmas themed activity or bookish activity. some kind of Christmas related or holiday related theme video every day of the month in December. So last year, one of the things that I tried to do was to go through my holiday reading or reading goal reading. And so I wrapped some books, and the goal was to unwrap a book each day and either read the book and talk to you about it, or decide that I'm not going to read the book for whatever reason. So a few of the books that I had wrapped last year were turned out when I started reading the book, it was like picking up on a series or picking up on something that I should have read before I read that book. Like the book has a prerequisite that I hadn't read, so I had to put it back or put it aside for one reason or another. That's the reason that a book can get eliminated from a list. Or it's just not the right book for me at the right time. So I assembled a list, I assembled a stack of books last year and went through some of them. I didn't get through all the books that I wanted to. And a big part of the reason for that is that I started a little late. By the time I had gotten all the books assembled and was starting to read, several days had passed. This year, I want to do it again, but do it a little bit more successfully. So this year, I want to get the books assembled much earlier, like sometime in November. So this is one of the books that I'd like to do during the holidays. And maybe thinking about how I can share the experience with you. Maybe if there are movies included, like if there are movies talked about in here, then maybe we can watch the movie and talk about the book and how the book and the movie relates to each other as we go through this. So the publisher sent me this book. I want to experience it with you. So I'm thinking about ways to incorporate our shared love for books and movies and do that. But not just this book, with other books as well. So thinking about that, so I'm not going to start reading this like today. That's the reason I'm saying all of that. Publishers also sent me this one. Oh, and I should mention this is being released today. Today is the publication date for this one. So if you have an opportunity to pick up this book and you want to read it along with me, then let me know so we can chat about that as well. The other book that I got yesterday was this one. This is nonfiction. This is How to Know a Person by David Brooks. He is a journalist. He's an op-ed columnist with the New York Times. He also appears on PBS NewsHour almost every week. He has a regular spot where he's usually one of the not presenter in terms of like, he's not an anchor. They have a regular spot on PBS NewsHour where every week they have two people, usually from kind of opposing viewpoints, debate some topic, or multiple topics that are in the news. And the spot is named after him now. It's Brooks and Capehart. The other person he shares a spotlight with during these debates is Jonathan Capehart, who's a writer for, I think, The Atlantic. And I really enjoy watching them discuss current events. So saw that he had a book coming out, was really excited to get this book, and I think it's being published next Tuesday. So I want to experience this before publication date. So these are the two books that the publisher sent me yesterday. Penguin Random House was kind enough to give me these books to share them with you. So definitely want to tell you about those, but I'm not reading either of those right now. Thank you so much. As you're coming in, just want to say hi. Thank you so much for joining. I am chatting books today, even if I haven't read all of the books that I'm talking about, just sharing them with you. So let me know if you've heard about any of these, if you are a romance lover, if you love books about movies, if you like books that are holiday themed, specifically Christmas themed. Let me know if this one is on your radar. It is being published today. Would definitely love to hear if you are picking this one up or reserving a copy from your library or just putting it on your long list of books that you want to read sometime soon. Let me know if this one piques your interest. It is Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. That's the author. It's the author's picture right there. And I think when I stream these videos, like the cover is probably like a mirror image. So if you're seeing it the way I'm seeing it, then it's a mirror image, which is why I always read the titles or read the information, even though you can see it. I don't know if you can read it. So it's Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon, and it's about, read the synopsis yesterday. So it's about two people who have lost, or they're recently bereaved. They're both widowed or widowered. They both lost their spouses, and after some time people are trying to put them together because they think this shared background will make for a good match. I don't necessarily know that that would make a good match, but maybe depending on when the two people are ready to move on. um yeah, so those are the two books that I got yesterday. Yesterday we also talked about the book club, because I run a book club where we read and discuss books by Caribbean authors. And the list that I have for the book club has us scheduled to read a book this month called Neruda on the Park. The author is Clavis Natera. She is from the Dominican Republic. She lives in the United States. And this book was released a couple of years ago. The publishers gifted me this a few years ago, so I read it back then and have wanted to discuss it since. I've talked about it, like included it in lists of books that I promote, or a list of books that I share with you as we talk about Caribbean books. No new books today yet, Rumi, but so these are books that have been here before. So I usually try to compile lists of books that I can recommend to you, especially if you're looking for books from a specific Caribbean country or specific Caribbean background. So if you want books by women who are from the Dominican Republic, I would recommend this book to you. If you want books about second generation immigrants, then I'd recommend this book to you. You want to read books about immigrants in New York, recommend this book. If you want to read books about lawyers who have Caribbean backgrounds, I recommend this book to you. Lots of different reasons that I would put this one on a list. I also host the reading initiative called Caribathon, which is 2 weeks. Now we've gone up to about 2 weeks. It used to be about 10 days. Now we're doing 2 weeks of reading books by Caribbean authors in the month of June every year. So I promote a lot of Caribbean books around that time. This is one of the ones that I have been chatting up in the past couple of years. But I never discussed it with the book club. So I put it on the book club list when I made the list of books that I would be reading, when I made the schedule at the beginning of the year. Didn't realize that the author had a new book being released this year. So Clavis Natera published this one, I think, in 2022. She also has this book out in 2025. This is The Grand Paloma Resort. So same author, but this is an older book. This is a newer book. And so even though we have this on the schedule for the book club to read and discuss this month, I'm also making the option available for people who may have an easier time getting a brand new book to read. We can discuss the books as a point of comparison, or if you want to discuss either book on its own, or you want to talk about the author's work on a more broad perspective. So these are the two books that I am reading this month, reread, new read, for the book club discussion, which will happen on the first Sunday in November, even though we're reading the books in October. So The Grand Paloma Resort and Neruda on the Park, both by Clavis Natera, who is an American author born in the Dominican Republic, and that Dominican background is heavily represented in her books. So definitely want to check those out for the Runwright Reads Book Club, and also to highlight authors who are from Caribbean backgrounds. So those are a couple of books that are on my radar for one reason or another. Also got this book recently, and we started reading this one out loud on live sometime last week. Was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday. It wasn't Friday because Friday my daughter was here and we went out. So I think it was on Thursday. We read the first few pages of this, and it was very, very immersive. We're reading about a man who tried to enlist in the military in the years of World War II. This American man tried to join the military so that he could go, you know, represent his country during the war in the 1940s. But he was born with a physical challenge, which made him ineligible to enlist. And it's a little bit about his life, at least the point that we were reading is a little bit about his life, viewing the war on the periphery, even though that's not where he wants to be completely. And so this was immediately immersive because I have read a lot of books about World War II, but never one with that perspective. I don't think I've ever read a book about someone who wanted to enlist in the military and was rejected for physical challenges. So that by itself was an interesting concept, but this man is also he's also interesting to read about. So I don't know, maybe we'll read a few more pages of this today. This is Buckeye by Patrick Ryan, and this was also gifted to me by Random House. It is a Read with Jenna book club selection, and I recently saw some clips where Jenna Bush Hager, she's a host on morning TV. Is it NBC? It's NBC, right? I think, yeah, the NBC has the little arches. So she selected this book for her book club, and I saw the author as well as the host, Jenna Bush Hager, distributing copies in front of her show. Like, you know, people would come down to view the show in the morning, and I saw them distributing copies, and I was like, I want a copy of that book. I want a copy of that book. And then a few days later, this came to me. So I was very excited to receive this. So I want to read it. I want to actually finish reading it very soon. And right now, aside from trying to meet some of my yearly and quarterly reading goals, I don't have a lot of other things that I need to read for. No prize that I'm judging, no real buddy reads on tap. So I want to just, focus on meeting some of the goals that I have set for myself that have nothing to do with other people. So I'll tell you what a couple of them are. A lot of the plans that I made earlier in the year have changed. And I have these pictures in my journal. A couple of pictures of me and my daughter, and they make me smile. All right. So, reading journal time. Here are some of the plans that I had set for myself at the beginning of the year. There's a Facebook challenge that I participate in every year. Facebook challenge runs for 4 months. It'll be our first time. The Facebook challenge runs for 4 months, and I usually participate in both iterations each year. It is called Book Challenge by Erin, and the person who started the challenge, her name's Erin, and she started this challenge over 10 years ago. And it started with just a few of us, but it has grown, and I have continued to participate. I make a list. So at 2 months before the challenge, or a month before the challenge, maybe a month before the challenge starts, she publishes a list of 10 prompts. And each prompt, you need to read a book that corresponds with it. So generally, the 10 prompts are, they're open. They're very open. They allow you to choose books that reflect your own reading interests, your own genre taste. So here are the prompts for the most recent iteration. And we are in, I think, the last month of this challenge for the year. So I'll tell you also about my success with the challenge thus far. So we are in the 23rd round of the challenge. Here are the categories. First category is a freebie. So in order for a book to be eligible for you to count it for a category, the book has to be at least 200 pages. So the first category is a freebie. Any book you want to read that is 200 pages or more, you can add it, you can read it. And it's an honor system. No one's asking you to prove that you have read the book. You say you've read the book, you've read the book. But generally, when you check in to say that you've completed another book for the challenge, you may write like a line or two about the book. On the comment, you comment on the picture. And the challenge is really well organized. So they have albums for each category, each prompt. So as you tell the administrators what book you are choosing for that challenge, I'll add it to the album so that when you're done, you can go in and comment on that specific title, comment on that picture, and say, yeah, finish reading the book. Here's what it was about, just in case someone is looking for a recommendation for a book to also meet that challenge. So again, here are the challenge categories for the most recent iteration. First challenge was a freebie, any book 200 pages or more. Next is to read a book about a TV series. Hold on, let me actually pull up, because what I'm reading from is just the very short list, that very abbreviated list that I put in my reading journal after I have already chosen my books. So that doesn't have all the information that I would tell you. I don't want sheets. Why do I keep clicking on this? I want docs. Okay. I'll tell you what the challenges were. Okay. So first category, freebie. Next category, read a book that was turned into a TV series. So either a TV series that has already been released, or a series that has been announced and has a release date. It has to be a book that has become or is about to become a TV series. So for that, I had chosen Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo. I don't have a copy of the book. I had requested it from the library, and I think I got it. I think it came in. And when I first heard that my mom was ill, and I had decided that I was going to head to Jamaica to try to help take care of her, I returned all the books that I had out from the library because I wasn't sure when I would leave and how long I would be gone. So I returned the book to the library, and I haven't gotten it. I haven't requested it to have it returned to me. I haven't, because I don't think I have the time, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to focus on that. So my choice for that category was Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo. Even if I don't read it to complete this challenge, it's a book that I want to read at some point. So I will probably come back to that. Next is to read a book whose dominant color on the cover is one of the rainbow colors. So a book that is mostly red, or a book that's mostly orange, or a book that's mostly yellow or green or blue or violet. Those are the colors that were stated. For that, I had chosen Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange, which I read because it was a candidate for the BookTube prize, and it was in my group when I was judging. So I read that one. I need to actually I need to actually send in my comments on the Facebook group that I read that. Next is to read a book by an author who has published more than 10 books. I chose Long Island by Colm Toybin, also because I knew it was in the BookTube prize running, and reading that book let me tick off a bunch of other things. So it would help me complete a category on the Facebook group, but of course it would also help me with my judging process because I'm reading something that has been assigned to me. The next category was to read a book with a plural word in the title. So any word, any noun that is pluralized. So I had chosen Glorious Exploits by Ferdian Lennon, which exploits is plural. And I also read that for the BookTube prize. So 3 of these books thus far were BookTube prize candidates. Then to read a book with a 1940s setting, I had chosen Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, because I created this list when the challenge was first announced in June, and I didn't know all the books that were coming to me before the end of the year. I may change the title. So like I said, I had chosen Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, but now that I'm reading this book, set in 1945, I may just change the book that I'm reading so that number one, it will give me motivation to finish this before the end of the month. And it means that I also don't have to start another big book, because Brideshead Revisited, I think, is a kind of a chunky one. Next is to read a book that has a body part word in the title. For example, Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng, Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway, Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. And I chose The Bone People by Carrie Hulme because it is a Booker Prize winner. Is it on my shelf? I think I may have taken it down. Let me see. Yeah, it's not up there. It should have been on that shelf, but I think I took it down because I'm always handling the books. So The Bone People by Carrie Hulme was a Booker Prize winner from several years ago, and it's another chunky book that I wanted to read because I have a goal to read more of the Booker Prize winners, and that would help me accomplish a few things, but I didn't read it yet, so no. Then a book set in Asia, I had chosen The Makioka Sisters by Junichiro Tanizaki, I think is how the name is pronounced. The Makioka Sisters. It is a title that's on another list that I created several years ago. So this is a big list of books that I just kind of culled from hearing about books and reading lists of books and saying, well, I haven't read that. I want to read that soon. So I made this list that I'm trying to whittle down every year. And some years are more successful than others with adding or taking some things off this list. I started this in 2022, maybe, or 2023. And at the end of the year, I'll tell you how many of these books I have completed. At the end of the year, I will tell you how many of these books I have completed. I was keeping track on a spreadsheet. So yeah, that's something that I will talk about at the end of the year. Next category is to read a book with a domestic cat on the cover. So not a big cat like a lion or a tiger, but a book that has a domestic cat on the cover. And for that one, I had chosen Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Kawaguchi. Before the Coffee Gets Cold was my choice for that. That's another book that I had gotten from the library and returned before I had a chance to read it, just because I was planning to go overseas. Next is to read a book with a STEM female character, and I chose Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I think, Abby, you know the really popular romance novelist, Abby Jimenez. Yours Truly is, I think, the second book in a series. So even though I put this on my list that I want to read Yours Truly, I wanted to read the book that comes before it first. So I had initially requested from the library Yours Truly, but also the prequel. I'm trying to find so I have two documents. One is the category lists, the way it was sent to me, and then one with my notes. Okay, so Yours Truly is a book 2, and so before you read Yours Truly, you need to read Part of Your World. I requested both of those from the library. Again, returned them before I had a chance to read them. So those are books that are still on my plans. They're still in my mind to read, but I may not be able to read them before the end of the month. Let me see, July, August, September, October. Yeah, I think the challenge ends at the end of October. BCB. All right, so those are some lists. Those are some lists that I'm looking at. I make a list of goals that I have for reading for the year, and it's fine if I don't meet them, but these are just, ways to organize my reading, just to make sure I'm reading some of the things that I want to read as like a big picture. Like there's some things that I want to read and know and be able to have conversations about, and not just be dazzled by the brand new books that as they're being published. So I have some authors that I want to read more of their works. I have these classics and backlist books that I want to read, so I can talk about them. This is the classics and backlist list. Some of these titles are titles that you hear mentioned in conversations, like they're part of the literary canon, depending on who you talk to. And yeah, so I don't always know what I'm going to be reading right now, but I want to have a plan of things that I do want to stick with, so that I'm meeting the goals as I'm moving forward, not just right now. So let me answer your questions. Rumi24 asked kind of an off-script question. Do you have a Harry Potter book? If yes, then did you read all of the books? I see your message about trying to keep up. No, I appreciate your questions, even if I don't answer them right away. So I'm trying to just make sure that I say what it is that I want to say about this. Harry Potter. I read a Harry Potter book. I read one, the first one. I watched one or two of the movies. Um, Harry Potter, the Harry Potter mania, I think was a little bit, is it before or after? I think I was a little bit older than the typical Harry Potter fan when the books were first released. So I read one when I was in college. One of my roommates was a huge Harry Potter fan, and she had all the books. And she lent me her book so that I could read the first one. And I liked it. I just didn't think I wanted to continue with the entire series, at least not then. I do think that I will come back and reread the books because I think I'd have to start with number one again. As a matter of fact, it is on my book list. It is on my list of classics and backlist books that I want to read. Harry Potter is on here. Let me show you. I know it is because, you know, when you think about bookish conversations, there is a subsector of readers who, no matter what question you ask, or no matter what kind of bookish conversation you are having, the conversation can or will come around to Harry Potter. I don't have it on this picture because the picture got a little changed. But I have a printout. I have a printout of titles listed. And I know the Harry Potter series is on there. So yeah, I do want to come back and start that series again. I haven't done it yet. Someday soon. Someday soon. But thank you so much for your question. I'm not opposed to reading Harry Potter. I know there's a lot of discussion about the author and the author being problematic and whether or not you can separate reading the book and enjoying the book from your feelings about the author personally. And I'm not weighing in on that conversation either way, but I do know that I want to read the books, at least the Harry Potter books. I have a few other books from the author, books that she has written for other audiences, but her books are really big, and so you kind of have to, especially with a series, you kind of have to know that you have the time to dedicate to the series when you start. So yeah, I will read the books. And, you know, as my daughter gets a little older, I think it's important for me to read some of the books that she will be introduced to. A few weeks ago, they had a program at her school where we could come in and read. And when they moved from independent to group reading, the teacher was reading a book that I have heard a lot about, I've heard mentioned a lot, but never thought to read with my daughter at this age, because my daughter is 5, and they were reading The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which I think would be for a more middle grade reader. So yeah, I think it's just important to have some background with a lot of the books, because you never know when you're going to be asked about a book. You never know when a bookish conversation is gonna start, and you want to be able to contribute to it in some way, even if it is to say, well, I picked up that book, I didn't like it, and here's why. Or I want to read that book later, here's why. Or that book maybe not be something that I would recommend for you, and here's why. However that conversation shakes out. So yeah, those are some of the bookish things that we're thinking about and talking about. The weather here is a little overcast. We had a big storm over the weekend. Not a hurricane kind of storm, but a lot of heavy rain and some strong wind. and the wind took down like some tree branches in our neighborhood. No whole trees, but some trees lost branches, and there are even a couple of cars on the street that trees fell on the cars. Didn't seem like there was any significant damage, just maybe from where the point of impact where the branch fell on the tree. But it was pretty intense. So it's still a little overcast and a little chilly, which is why I am probably probably not just not in the right frame. I was gonna try to read, but I don't know that I can right now. What are you reading? Are you reading today? Should we host a little reading sprint? Maybe that's what we'll do. I'm gonna stay on here for another few minutes and we're gonna do a reading sprint. I did a lot of administrative things today and I'm a little worn out. Whew. Also, I'm a little worn out emotionally. Yeah. Have a big program that's coming up this weekend and have a lot of things to do to get ready for it. I volunteer with a group at my church, and it's a program like the Boy Scouts, and we have a big program that's coming up this weekend where people are going to be receiving their insignias for work that they've done over the past year. And I just have a lot of things to do for it. So I'm just mentally I'm a little stressed. All right, we're gonna put a timer on and we're going to read. I'm gonna read. I want to finish this book. So in the discussions about the books earlier in the video, I didn't talk about Full Bloom. So Full Bloom by Francesca Saratella, I'm still reading. And I'm a little concerned that I haven't finished it yet, because the longer it takes me with a book, the longer I spend with a book generally is the less I am enjoying it. And I was really enjoying this book at the beginning, so I don't want it to be something where it starts getting stretched out, drawn out. So I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes and I'm going to see how far I can get in the book in 20 minutes. And then I'll come back and tell you a little bit about it, what I can. So it is 12:39. I'm going to set the timer to start at 12:40. Let me look for a 20-minute timer. Okay. So we're going to start our 20 minutes just about now. So this is the book I'm going to be reading. Let me know if you're reading along with me, what you're reading. You can put it in the chat. If you're not reading, you're doing something else, you can tell me that too. I just really want to finish this, and I have to leave not too long from now, and I don't know how much I'll be able to read when I go out. Yeah. So I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes starting now. Let me know what you're reading and we'll come back in 20 minutes. right. There's about a minute and a half left on the timer. See if I can read one more chapter. All right, so I am at page 275. I think I read about 30 pages or so in the 20 minutes, 20 plus minutes. And I'll tell you more when I'm done. I'm going to try to finish the book today. I know I've said that before, but I'm going to try to finish the book today so we can talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to come on here early tomorrow morning. Early tomorrow morning means before midday. Wednesday. Yeah. So I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have more reading stuff to talk to you about. I may even have a new bookish package to open. I'll have to tell you what that is. So you'll have to come on back. You'll have to come on back. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a surprise. I will talk about this. So this is what I was reading during the Sprint Full Bloom by Francesca Ceritella. And this was a gift from the publishers a few weeks ago. And I want to finish reading it. It is really interesting. It's a very expansive novel where the author is following a couple of different, like there's a plot and a couple of subplots, but every now and then she introduces something that is not necessarily part of the plot. I read quite a bit about it, and it also it's also about this woman's um, not always romantic, but I'll say romantic pursuits for lack of a better phrase. And so there are quite a few different people that she is involved with at different times in different ways, and that just makes for a lot of narrative. It just makes for a lot of narrative. And it's interesting to read because it's not a cookie cutter kind of right by the numbers. It's not following a formula. Even in terms of a specific relationship, I just read a section where she's bringing up a backstory that we had no idea about, even though we have seen these two people in a work, like a professional relationship, at various points in the book. We're at 270 something pages, and she's just now introducing something that is pretty significant in how they relate to each other, but was never mentioned before. So there's a lot to the book, and so I can tell that she's just being very just very, very inclusive. I think it's like um I think it's like because this is an accomplished author, she has a following, she has a fan base, they know that her books are going to sell. The publisher is more likely to allow her more pages in a book. I think if she was a new author, a debut novelist, that maybe the book wouldn't have been quite so long, because they would have just probably taken out some of those stories that I'm not positive, because I'm not done reading the book yet, but some of those little subplots are probably not necessarily leading towards the resolution of the main issue. It's interesting to read, but I could see where for a lesser known author that may have been eliminated. So I'm going to go. I gotta go. I gotta run. It's after 1 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock, 1:03 p.m. here in New York City today. And I gotta go, got some more administrative things to do. But I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me today, whether you're here live or if you are watching this as a recording later. Thank you so much. If you are just joining and you haven't already done that, please like the live. Please like the live, double tap the screen so you'll like the live. Or hit the thumbs up button and like the live before you go. This is a bookish space. We come on here live most weekdays and talk books, talk about the books that we're reading, books that have come to me and I want to share with you. And every now and then a little more about a book that I'm not necessarily reading right now, but that is interesting to me for one reason or another. So I get you, Rumi. Rumi said she read 10 pages and then she goes on to YouTube Shorts. So for me, it is helping that I am on live while I'm reading, because I'm using my phone to film, or I'm using my phone to do the recording. So no YouTube Shorts if I'm using the phone. I mean, my computer is right here. But I tend to do more focus things on the laptop than I would on the phone. Phone encourages me to scroll. So I can't do it now because I'm using it to see you or for you to see me. But yeah, this is the book that I was reading, Full Bloom by Francesca Saratella, and I'm gonna try to continue reading later so that tomorrow when we come on, I can tell you my thoughts on the book as a whole. Books that came out today include this one, not that one, sorry. Include this one, new publication being released by Penguin Random House today. Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. Check out this book, check out this author if you have an opportunity. I think it is a holiday themed romance, which is going to do a little bit of a mashup between books and movies. Two of my favorite things to experience. So especially around the holidays. So we will chat tomorrow, and I hope that you enjoy whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, rest of the night, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. And before you go, like the live. If you are watching this as a recording, like the live, leave a comment, engage with the video in some way. If you have missed any of the lives, you could definitely go back onto my channel, click the live tab, and you will see all of the lives that we have done in the past few weeks. There have been a lot because we've done them most weekdays, and they're very different. Some are very different. So I am also very glad that you came upon my channel, Rumi. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate when I come on, seeing you be a part of the discussion, seeing your name come up as a participant. I really appreciate you. So we'll see each other tomorrow. Looking forward to it, and have a good afternoon and enjoy whatever you're doing. If you are reading, happy reading. If you're watching, happy watching. If you're hanging out with your family, if you're sleeping, whatever it is that you're doing, enjoy it. Talk soon. Bye.